Welcome everybody. So it is October here and it is pumpkin season, so I thought it would be a good time to carve a simple pumpkin here. Got my V-gouge all stropped and ready to go, so I'm going to just start by outlining the pumpkin here with my V-gouge. And again, I'm using a cookie slab basswood here, but you can use really whatever you got around the house. If you got pine, whatever. Pine is going to be fairly easy to carve as well as basswood, but a standard slab of basswood is going to be much easier to carve than a cookie. So my first pass is going to give me down to 1/8 of an inch roughly, and so as you're kind of carving here, you kind of have to think about how deep you want this carving to go. So the deeper you go, generally the more shape you can give the pumpkin, but obviously it's going to take you a little bit longer to then carve in the end. So I'm probably going to get this down to probably 1/4 of an inch. That's my goal depth. That'll give me some room to shape it, but it won't take me super long. So it's probably going to be about 2 to 3 passes with my V-gouge to get down to that depth. Now I just kind of did my 2 to 3 passes as I was going, so I'm probably down to 1/4 of an inch here all the way around the pumpkin. So the next step is doing a precise outline all the way around the pumpkin and getting that perfect vertical stop cuts. So this is a good time to kind of address these semi-tight spots, kind of where the pumpkin comes in together here, and then I'll kind of address the background, I guess you could call it, kind of a carve stroke border kind of tapering into the pumpkin. So basically what you do is you take a gouge that matches the curvature of the design and do your straight down stop cuts, and you're gonna have to obviously adjust as you go around. But for me, I would say a good start would either be, I've got a number 2 and a number 5. I think that's probably gonna give me my best bet to get most of it. The stem here, I'll probably have to use like a number 7 or something, but just for the pumpkin here itself, I think a number 2 and a number 5 is a good start. You can use your mallet here if you want, but not necessary. And I'm kind of giving it a little wiggle. You know, you're doing your best to go vertical, but kind of give it a little wiggle here just to get a little bit deeper. Okay. Kind of have to do my taper here a little bit just to allow myself to get down there to finish those stop cuts. Okay, probably number 2 would be my best around these outer edges here. So you can try to do your stop cuts with your V-gouge as well, kind of at a slanted angle. But this is just too tight here for any longer gouge, so I'm gonna have to drop down to my number 3 5mm here to kind of get this. Go back to working on the taper background. Okay, I'm going to get this with my V-gouge. And then the tip of the stem, I'm going to get it with my small, let's see here, number 3 5mm. So the next step is to start shaping the pumpkin here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to round the outside edges. Then I'm going to take my V-gouge and run it along the outside of these curved lines here. And then I'm going to taper and then round, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to drop this down with my V-gouge and then taper from this direction and then round the stem. And I'm probably going along this one and this one. I'm going to drop at least one pass, probably around 1/8 of an inch or a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm just going to taper this into the pumpkin here and get rid of this hard line. Okay, and I'm going to round both sides here. Okay, now I'm going to do these two center ones. I'm just going to go right on the line there, and then I'm going to taper into that line that I just made. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do is work on the face here. And the first step is to go over this line here with my V-gouge and kind of drop it in, drop this face into the pumpkin. And once I do that, I'll probably do some light tapering to remove that hard line. And then I'll work on the eyes, nose, and mouth. And then I'm going to take my shallow gouge and kind of clean up around the outside of that. Get rid of the pen lines here. Okay, now I'm gonna basically drop that face into the pumpkin, and I might be losing some of my lines here, so I'll have to redraw that. Now you can, if you want, you can drop basically the whole level down probably 1/8 of an inch to, I guess, make it even, or you can do like a really gradual taper from the center. That would be quite a bit faster because you wouldn't have to be as precise and remove so much material, but just dropping that whole face might look better. So I might do the taper first and just see how it looks, and then I'll decide if I want to kind of level it out across. I drew the face back on the pumpkin, and I think I'm going to just continue on with just the tapered style here instead of pushing the whole thing back. I think you can get away with it and it still looks really nice in a shallow relief carving. If it were like a deep relief, like if you were carving to depths of, you know, an inch, inch and a half, 2 inches, then I would definitely drop that back just to make it look a little bit better. But I think it's gonna look really good just the way it is, just with the tapered face. So I'm gonna take my V-gouge and go inside the lines here in the eyes, the nose, and then the mouth. And just with it being shallow relief, this is kind of an important step to make sure I don't slip. I'm just gonna have that in the back of my mind, because if I slip, it's gonna be really difficult to fix any errors that were made. So here we go. Okay, and then I'm going to take my small gouge. I'm going to use my number 7 4mm to kind of dig in there and clean those areas up and drop these eyes and nose and mouth down. Okay, so I dropped it back a little bit. Now I'm going to have to do my stop cuts here. Now I'm gonna get rid of this bare wood here and just give it a little carving texture, and then get rid of the pen lines. So the last thing I'm going to do is work on the stem here. And so I had already rounded it on both sides, but this tip here is, I'm going to, I guess you could leave it how it is if you wanted to, but I'm going to taper it slightly just to give it that, I don't know, that slight angle, just a little extra character. And then I'm going to, using my V gouge, make some longer strokes just to give it kind of that ribbed look. So I'm going to taper it. First, I got my number 2 12mm here. Just like that. Okay, I'm gonna kind of clean up the edge here where it meets the background. And then with my V gouge, I'm just going to make some kind of long curved strokes all the way through. Okay. So now I'm just going to add a little oil here and call it finished. Thanks for watching, everybody.